I'm not
We're
saying
back.
hey. I always say hey. Oh
Who
shoot, I just
cares?
said it.
Hey, I'll say it for you.
Hi.
I'm gonna put
We're
my phone on.
back with. Yeah, we're not saying seasons anymore. We're just gonna go for episodes and just go for it. So
Yeah, I don't like the whole season thing.
Yeah, and like one day we'll be like, oh my gosh, we're at episode 100, we're at
Episode
episode
what, 15?
1015.
Or 15?
Yeah.
Ah.
And this is very cool because we just did one Saturday night, and now we're like, let's get back on schedule and do it again Monday. So Shana had a really good idea. Go for it.
No, you.
Oh, so basically, Shana was like, Chevy, I read this amazing book, and we got to do a podcast on talking about this. And when she told it to me, I'm like, Shana, seriously, I read this book probably like 5 times.
I love this book.
So the book is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I'm probably not pronouncing his name right. I've lent it to somebody, so I don't have it on me. Do I have it there? No, I probably have another book by him, The Mastery of Love. He's phenomenal. He has just like such a good book. And it's based on, it's called The Four Agreements, and it's based on 4 things that you need to do to live like a happy life. Bless you in advance.
Stop it. Now it's not going to work.
So do you want to say what the 4 agreements are?
What are the 4 agreements? The introduction is kind of weird, so I don't want to like talk about the introduction, but basically what he's saying is that everything you go through in life is something that you agree on. It's an agreement. So there's 4 agreements that if you master these 4 agreements, it'll help you be the better version of yourself, or help you continue growing, or whatever, being the better version of yourself. Yeah. And a lot of the stuff that they say has so much, it's so aligned with the Torah. Like, it's 100%. So crazy. Yeah. Like, this one, we're talking about the first one, which is be impeccable with your words. Like, Shana. Like, that's like the first thing I can think of. Or like, Shana, it's just so much has to do with it, but obviously it gets deeper than that. But what's your intake on
be impeccable with your words?
Yeah, like what did you take from it, from being impeccable with your words? Like, how would you apply it? Everything about what do you think impeccable with your words is?
So first of all, like, it's so deep. Be impeccable with your word. Like, literally, it means like, watch what you say. Your word is a spell. What you say could become true. Like, we talked about how your thoughts and your speech and your action is all in your reality.
How's it go again? Like,
your thoughts become words. Your words become your thoughts.
No. Your mind becomes thoughts. Your thoughts become a word. Your word becomes an action. Your action becomes your reality.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's like heavy, but then also like there's so many times that we exaggerate, or we lie to like keep somebody comfortable, or we lie just to make ourselves look good, or we say something bad about ourselves or about other people. Like, Lashon Hara is about ourselves also, which we do way worse than we do with other people. He says that in the book. Yeah. Right. And it becomes reality, which is not. It's. I think you'll notice that the most when you stop doing it, and even if you just like slow down on it, you'll realize like, whoa.
Or just be conscious of it.
When you're conscious, like, you just start to slow down, right? Because like the first thing is to become like aware of it.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. When I read this book and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a lot of things to work on. And I started working on it slowly, and I just felt so much better of a person, not in an egotistical way, like in a more calm, like peace of mind with myself. What about you?
This book was so, it hit me so hard, and it was so crazy. I got into like a trance in the book. I just wanted to hear more, and like every time I was like putting on makeup and getting dressed in the morning and whatever, and I just wanted to listen to it. I didn't read the book because I'm horrible at reading, but I listened to it, and I listened to it like 4 times already.
Yeah, I also read it over and over. Like,
it's so good, and every single time you get like more of it. But impeccable with your words. I don't know if you remember in the book, he talked about what impeccable means. Impeccable means, I don't remember what language he said it comes from, but impeccable means a sin. Like, no, it means the opposite of a sin, like unsinning. So basically what he was saying is, be impeccable with your words is make sure the words that you're saying are not sinning. Sinning means that you're doing something that affects you. So everything that comes out of your mouth should be something that affects you for the good, not for the bad. So if you're talking about someone, they're going to hate you, right? I'm just being very like, they're going to hate you. Hating you doesn't do good for you.
Yeah.
So don't talk about someone. Yeah. Don't talk bad to someone, because now you're taking your negative and you bring it out in your speech. Now you're creating negative. Don't do that. Don't talk bad about yourself. Don't talk down on someone and now create them to think that way. Impeccable with your words also was like, let's say how do I explain it? Let's say I told myself I'm stupid, and he says about this,
Yeah.
Shana, you're stupid. So now I just lowered myself to agreeing with myself. That's a part of the agreement. I agree now by saying, I agree now that I'm stupid. So now I just agreed it with myself, and now I start believing it and acting on it and talking stupid when I'm not stupid. And also the same when you say it to someone, like it goes
Yeah.
so deep. It's also like shonara, like,
Yeah.
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's so many ways in the Jewish, also in the Torah, where it literally talks about this.
I love it. You obviously read it much more recently than I did. I actually didn't read it for a long time, but when
Right
I
now,
did
you
read it,
wanna
I read
read
it
it
like over and
again?
over. I'm like, I need to read this again. I don't know who I lent it to, but give it back, or I'm gonna have to get another copy.
Just get the audiobook.
Yeah, but I love to read, like to lose myself in a book.
Oh,
You
I
know?
lose myself like driving and listening. Oh,
Oh my
but it's the same
gosh.
thing for me because I'm in like my own little world.
Yeah,
But it's such a good. But
it's so good. But don't you like the thing that stood out the most to me from like reading this chapter is that, or this section of the book, is that your word is a spell. Like you can put a spell on somebody.
yeah,
Your words
right. Because
literally.
if I told you right now, if you were, let's say, let's say right now, I read your book and I'm like, Shelly, I just don't think your book is so nice. You agreed by listening to me.
Yeah.
And you're gonna act like, oh my god, I don't think my book is so good, and
Yeah.
that's so mean. You
Yeah.
really took a huge chunk out of like someone thinking that they're not doing good when they're doing so well.
100%.
But like your word had such a big effect, even if it's just a small. Even if I said it wasn't so good,
Yeah. Yeah.
I literally like hurt. It hurts. It's mean. It's literally I spell to make you feel like you're not 100% when
Yeah.
you were, and
Yeah.
your book was so good. Like
And
why?
it probably only comes from your own thing of like it has nothing to do with the actual reality or the actual fact. You know what I'm saying? Which is another
Yeah.
part of his book.
It's just also he I don't remember if he said it, but he was saying something about how a lot of times in our life we take listening or people's opinions, and you don't understand that when you give someone an opinion, watch how you say it.
Yeah.
Because every single
Yeah.
word gets agreed by the other person,
Yeah.
and it like goes into their brain, and then they
Yeah.
react on it. And
Yeah.
same goes with yourself.
And how many times did we give advice where we kind of knew something and we were like, yeah, we know this, do that, and we're like, do you really know? Like, you know exactly what you said so good. And then it just made me think of something else that I trip on and start to get so spiritual, but we know this all comes back to spirituality, is that God literally created the entire world with his speech. He said that it should be. Whoa, and it was.
Oh my god,
it's
so good. That's
you know how I remember this, that every time I went through like a phase of like not saying brachos or anything, which I think everybody can do whatever works for them.
Also.
Nasa v'nishma also, but when you say shakol niyabedvaro, which is like the main bracha on everything, shakol, that everything was created with his speech. Everything he said, there should be rain and there was rain. He said there should be a person and there was a person. So it's all. I also just
and I know it's literally. You know how sometimes we talk in our podcast and they'll like it's for our own good.
I know. I didn't connect it till now, but literally I trip on this, that God created the world with speech, and we have to be careful with our speech, but I didn't connect it to the impeccable. And also impeccable is perfect. Like, watch what you say. It better be perfect if it comes out of your mouth.
Yeah, because if it's hurting you, I thought of something, but then it just popped out of my brain. So now I don't even know what to say.
So
but I wanted to ask you something.
Can I say something else that popped into my head? And then
pop it.
If it pops back in,
I'll
tell
remember.
me. Okay, what I wanted to say is that I've been learning in these like breastfeed classes that I love listening to. Remember I told you
that's
about
what
him?
I want to remember.
Oh, okay, tell me.
Do you feel like sometimes when you read these type of books that like Jewish stuff are popping into your brain by accident?
All the time, and it's all connected.
Yeah.
Okay. In Judaism, they say
so
that there's
now
nothing.
Makes sense what you're saying, so keep going.
In Judaism, they say there's nothing new under the sun. Like, it all started from the Torah, and everything you ever learned from any influencer or a motivational speaker is all connected in the Torah.
It all comes back to the Torah.
Yeah, always. But what I wanted to say is that in one of these breastfeed classes that I love listening to, Gedalia Fesser,
I know, she's got me so into it.
And I love it because it's like so practical. And he says that women, like, this is all for the women out there, that women were brought down with, there was 10 measures of speech and women got 9 of them. Remember learning about this one?
No, I didn't.
So women got 9 measures of speech.
What does that mean? What's measures of speech?
So let's say there's like, let's say there's 10 balloons in the world. 9 of them went to the women and 1 went to the men. You know, women talk a million times more than men. Like, a woman could say I love you in 15 million different words, and a guy is just like I love you, and that's the same meaningful. Guys have less speech than women do. It's a real thing. If you trip on it, you'll see.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But what I wanted to say is that one of my favorite things from his classes that I learned is because we have 9 measures of speech, women, we're a lot faster to criticize. And you could literally ruin a relationship because women are much more likely to criticize their man. They point out everything perfect and they don't shut up.
And he hears it in one way.
And it goes into his head, and all he becomes that person. You say, oh, you didn't clean up. Oh, you're so lazy. Why didn't you do this? And you don't even mean it, but you're nitpicking on him all day, and it makes him into this ugly kind of man. And if you could just learn to close your mouth and only see what's important, and don't criticize.
I also think that what you're saying also goes to children.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I didn't think about this.
It really does. Like,
yeah.
Imagine like your mom told you your whole life something.
My mom's voice echoes in my head.
I don't have to say much, but there's so many things in life you remember your parents. Like, I remember things that my father said to me that like till this day I'm like, whoa. And like things that my mom said to me. My mom, there's one thing that my mom used to say to me.
What?
It's so weird to say. She used to say like, if you eat a tomato, you'll be happy because it has endorphins or something. And she told me once in my life probably,
and
it stayed in my head.
Really
and she'd be like, if you want to be happy, go eat a tomato.
Or like, I
literally like weird things like that. Like I remember things that my mom would say, or I don't know, like just little things that.
Yeah, I also remember a lot of good things. My mom, whenever I would like be like slunched over the table and eating, my mom would always be like, "You're a princess. Princesses don't eat like that." And I'm always like careful to like stand up straight when I eat.
Much, like,
and it's stuck in my head till now. I'm 30 years old, and she said it when I was little, and I'm like, okay. And she's right. By the way, it's so good for your whole system when you're standing up straight.
Yoga that we used to do.
But like, it's very true. By the way, we're at 12 minutes. Oh my gosh, I love where this went. We did not mean to take this spiritual, and it went.
I knew it. By the way, I knew that it was gonna go that way because we always.
I love it.
I just feel like all these books, like I was asking you that question, like somehow God always comes. Like, they can talk about the higher power or say all these things, and I just hear God.
Yeah, and Torah, like, and we already learned this.
And
it's like already there. Wait, I want to say one more thing.
To learn from the Torah.
I also want to bring this back into something so random that just popped into my head. Did anything else pop into your head that you forgot to say?
No, I'm listening.
So you know how I'm obsessed with his book, just talking to God?
Mm-hmm.
So I really firmly believe it's the one most important thing, not everybody, but like for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find that when I'm saying it out loud, I'm turning it into speech and I'm talking to God, it's literally emptied from me. And it's also because it's speech. It's like you be impeccable with your words.
I feel like 12 minutes is not enough.
I know.
I want to just, okay. Hey, everyone, be impeccable with your words. Watch what you say. Everything you say affects you and the people around you. And like just.
And they're your reality. It changes your world. Like,
and if there's something that you want out in the world, like it's just sitting in here, say it.
And tell God, be like, God, I'm saying this to you. I want this.
Say it to people.
Say it to people.
Watch what you say.
Yeah, also expression. Another favorite thing I learned is expression fights depression. So especially when you're going through something hard, if you talk about it to somebody, I just want to say this really fast because it's so important. It says that God decreed you to go through that hard time, but when you share it with somebody else, that person wasn't decreed to go through the hard time, so God will take it away from you. So share it with somebody that cares about you, and it's going to make it easier for you. Doesn't that give you chills? Okay. Oh, so thanks for all the feedback and comments. It's been so heaven hearing what you think about everything.
The comments that I got. Okay, bye, guys.
That was like